All right, welcome back, everyone. So we've got coming up for you tomorrow. It should be released. That will be Thursday this week. The Mark Ewan interview up at Higher Level Gym podcast. It was excellent. I didn't even want to call it an interview. Did you go interview?
It was pretty good.
Aye. It was just a quite open conversation.
It was like an insight into his world. And I've been doing this sport for maybe about, let's say, 12 years. He's always been about the sport, and he's only 25. Like,
see, when he said that,
mind.
aye, and I was like, and how old are you, Mark? 25. I was like, fucking hell. Very good. I enjoyed it.
Another young guy coming up PFL 28th of September. I'm a bit sad that I can't go to that show, but I am absolutely, like, from start to finish, I'm looking forward to seeing what these Scottish talent can do. And it's obviously, there's a lot of guys who signed to PFL from Higher Level Gym, and I see them day in, day out training, and I see the improvements they're making. So that's what gets me excited about this show. I know what's going on in the background, and I'm like, right, I can't wait for this.
I was just trying to think off the top of my head there. So what is it? It's Mark Ewan, Dylan Took, Lorenzo Parenti, Coonley, and Gemma Alls. So that's five people getting ready. Well, Dylan's unfortunately not got a fight. I'm sure we'll hear all about that.
Yep, we've got Dylan coming on the podcast. Dylan Took. He's full of madness, that boy.
He's one of my guys for sure. He's a guy I love spending time with. Dylan, when he cornered me down in Barnsley, it was fucking brilliant.
See, when you think about what we're trying to get with this open mat, so we're trying to get fighters and people who are involved in our sport, or potentially it doesn't have to be your sport, but we're looking to bring in people onto your open mat and have a discussion with them. When you think about Stevie Ray, and then you think about Mark Ewan and this inspirational stuff we were getting for him today, because it was pretty inspirational.
Oh, I was like, I left that today. Sorry to cut in on you there, but I left that today feeling better. I was like, I feel better. I'm like, it's quite unusual. Like, I don't really talk to that many people out with this podcast group, and I was like, I genuinely enjoyed that conversation. And I train with Mark all the time, but you know what it's like when you're training, you're just in, do your thing, you've got somewhere to be after. He obviously alluded to it when during the conversation, like, not got much spare time. You've not got much spare time. You're just trying to do your thing. But I did leave the podcast today like feeling better. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was very inspirational. And as I said on the podcast, like, he's the guy that's helping the next generation of mixed martial artists. But when you compare that to Stevie, to Mark, and then we're going to have Sean, and then we're going to have Dylan Took. These are four guys who are all trained together and are all very friendly, but it's so different. All very different. And that's why this open mat segment's brilliant.
But so that's, like you say, Stevie and Mark are both very different guys, but again, I don't want to give too much away without watching the actual episode, have both leaned into similar traits. And I'm just wondering if we're going to keep seeing that as a pattern, which is traits I know that me and you both have as well. I'm interested to see if that goes all the way through. Like, I wonder how many fighters will get down who all show this one thing, and obviously people watching, you can make your own mind up about it, but that's what I'm quite interested in.
We've also got we've got a big one coming Friday the 27th. We'll keep that under wraps. It's going to let I talk some shit. We talk some shit. This is a doozer.
Is he a big name, would you say?
Oh, he's fucking. It's a guy. We'll give you a bit of a clue, but he's it's good.
You had any big fights or that?
I want to say more, but
I'd love to. I've actually not told a single fucking soul about that.
So I've told a few guys, and they're like, a few of my friends, and they're absolutely buzzing me. They're like, honestly, how'd you pull that one? And I was like, well, the boys at G4 Claims podcast studio are pulling out the big guns.
Without giving anything away, he's been round the block. He's done it all.
He has fought for titles. Fought the GOAT.
He might have.
Oh, I think I love that. Greg was
going to say, you're going to end up saying something that's just going to get away.
Right, we'll say no more. Right, we'll say no more.
We'll leave you with that.
So, that's all that really happened this week, isn't it? Nothing, right? So, guys, thanks for tuning in. So we had what did we have? We had the Sphere,
the greatest cinematic fight experience ever.
Off art shite.
What did you think?
Off art shite.
Aye.
You know when you go to the toilet and you're like, I need a shite, and you go and sit in the toilet and you're like, it's just a fart, and you don't get the end result. That's what it was for me. Now, I'm not shitting on the card, right? And I said this the last time. I shat on the card again. But the two co-main in the main event, what were we expecting? What did we want? We wanted Sean O'Malley to flatline Merab, and we didn't get it.
No.
So that fight went the distance, and we had Merab obviously just wrestling fuck him. And then if you look at the co-main event, which was Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso, and Shevchenko done what needed to be done. She didn't put her head above the pit to get anything other than a win. She didn't do anything exciting. She just rode her, won by decision. And I get it. Why would you try and pull off a head kick knockout or a spinning back fist and have your back taken and lose your belt? Or because this is the third time. And do you want to see another Alexa Grasso Shevchenko fight?
Nah, I didn't think we even needed to see that fight.
We didn't have to see the third one.
I don't know what. And Shevchenko as well. Afterwards, I was expecting some sort of call out or some kind of something. Just did none. Just I don't know. There was just you're right. It was flat after the Lopez Ortega fight. I enjoyed.
Yes, it was.
That was the sort of the big fight on it. Really. O'Malley Merab, I don't know. Even O'Malley doesn't seem that bothered about it. He's just like, oh well.
I seen he was on social media like sprawling and stuff.
He was on his own podcast the next again day. Just like that. He's not even fucking banged up.
Did we, if he'd got the victory, if Sean O'Malley had sniped him, put him down,
yes,
we would have a Conor McGregor-esque star.
That was my opinion.
Now we don't. Where do we go? Where do we go in this division? Because we're now going to have Russian guy, Georgian guy fighting a Russian guy, and it's just going to be let's dry hump central.
Umar Nurmagomedov, that's his right name.
Merab came out and he's like, no, he shouldn't get the fight because he's no fought MD, and it's all this same stuff that the same thing happened to Merab, and it's like once you've got the title, he come out and do the exact same thing that you've been like. What's happened to you? So you break a cycle, boys.
We could do with seeing somebody a bit more originally. Like, I've not got a problem with people's fighting style. Merab's fighting style doesn't bother me. He could just do with being less fucking boring as a person.
As a person, do you know like his whole stick where he's like a bit mental? You know, buying into it.
He's to sit like he wears the hat and he does all the. We've seen all this one like Sean O'Malley. He's weird. Like the rainbow hair and the fucking Takeshi 6ix9ine tattoos and tattoos in the face and stuff. It's authentic, I think. There's no one else doing that. It's certainly more interesting than your usual, like, the big woolly hat, alhamdulillah, smash, fucking all this type of... It's just the same thing. Like, we keep... And now we're going to get the same with Umar.
These guys have seen this and they're all just producing the same shit.
Aye, why no, though? Because it's winning. It's clearly a winning formula. Like, do you want to be Diego Lopez and go out there and have your fucking inside of your head turned into a coral reef? Because that's that type, like him fighting at, what was that, 145 against Ortega, who's clearly much bigger.
Do you think that's Ortega's weight class?
He's obviously got a problem making the weight. What age is Ortega now? Do you know? I feel like he's a wee bit older.
But for Lopez, what a story,
mate.
What a story. So am I right in saying he was contender series,
yes,
lost,
came back
in a last minute replacement fight, and then now when you look at him, he's in the mix for the title.
He's 33.
Ortega's 33.
Is he?
Aye.
Right. So he's not a young spring chicken, but he's
very good.
He's very good.
Very good. I think for Lopez, what we can like about Lopez is he's quite interesting.
He's game.
He's fucking well up for it. He's a great athlete. He's got kind of a funny haircut. There's things that are a bit more different about him.
Can you fire up that division just to have a look? I know I like to.
I think he's
to do MMA math.
I think he's title shot guy now.
I was thinking because you've obviously got Max Holloway who's fighting Topuria. Am I right?
Yeah.
You're also got what's his name?
Volk.
That's what I was thinking. Alexander.
So this has not been updated yet, obviously.
Could you go over a touch? This one. Aye.
Yeah.
So he's sitting number 3. It has been updated.
Oh, sorry. So it has.
So he potentially should be fighting Volkanovski.
Aye, and Volkanovski's open to it. Volkanovski keeps saying though that his next fight's a title fight.
He said his next fight's a title fight,
and he will only move for this.
He said he'd be open to fighting Lopez for an interim title fight.
Do we need an interim there?
No, you don't. You're just
just fight Lopez then, bro. Adios, Alex. Loved you.
I don't think that ends well for Volkanovski. When you think about him versus Ortega with that submission, 2 submissions, wasn't it? It was a guillotine and what was the other submission?
I feel like it was a triangle.
And he had them in there and he defended them, just showed how tough he was. I think if you're in that situation with Lopez flags you up, takes your soul.
Aye, there's something about this Lopez. And then, did you notice he was back in the corner for Grasso? Yep. I thought that was cool. That was cool.
But it made no difference. Nah. Because Grasso basically get fucking humped.
I thought she'd done all right, though, with the open guard stuff.
Like, when she was actually throwing up submissions. It's that thing that James talks about. He's like, your time's just dwindling down and you're like, I'm going to catch this submission, I'm going to catch this submission, I'm going to... And then 5 minutes later, you're standing back up because it's the start of a new round, and then what happens is the same thing happens. Now, I'm not shitting on Shevchenko. She'd done what needed to be done. She wanted her title back. She'd done exactly the routes to victory. Do I want to get caught? Do I want to get caught with a spinning back? Was it a spinning back fist, wasn't it? The last time, spinning back fist, caught her back, subbed her. Do I want to get caught with that? No. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to out wrestle her, and I'm not going to allow her to do anything other than throw up a couple of submission attempts and just grind her out. So I am down with what Shevchenko done. I get it, but I don't know what you do with this division. I don't know what you do. I find it hard to get super excited for the female divisions. That's my opinion, and my opinion can mean shit. But in my I just don't know what you do with it.
I mean, I like Shevchenko to a degree, but I think there's other female fight. Like, I tell you what, I think, are we going to see her with Kayla Harrison then, or what's going to happen? Or
no, that I'd be excited to see.
Because you think Kayla Harrison will batter her.
Aye.
So that's why people are into it, eh?
That would get me more excited. But then if you're Shevchenko, you're going to take that fight?
Nah, why bother?
Why would you?
Why bother? Money's made. What was I going to say about the fucking Shevchenko fight? I can't mind.
There were fans won that one, eh? Just getting to see 2 lassies fucking roll about.
That was when you went to the back. That was when you enjoyed the optics of the sphere. That was when Shevchenko and Grasso are fighting. That's when you have a wee look around and you go, wow, look at that. What did you think of the
pageantry?
Big show. Big drama show.
Do we need it?
Nah, we're already there. Eh?
See, when I looked at the time, like the actual, because normally I'd get up on the Sunday morning and I would just, it's like a little green icon, you just hit it and it skips you to the fight. You just watch the fight. And I couldn't do that. And it was literally like fucking 5 hours of 5 hours of nonsense.
There was a lot of filler, eh? It was taking a long time to get the fights going. I finished work and went over to my pal's house, and then it was like 3:30 or something. I was like, I've only seen 2 fights here. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? What was
the record of Mexican fighters turning it up for fucking Noche?
I think off the top of my head, I don't think it was great. I think it was either 1 and 6 or like 2 and 7 or something. So they didn't have a great night.
It wasn't a great night. And if you take Lopez, he's Brazilian, but he's got kind of a Spanish name, hasn't he? Diego Lopez. That sounds Spanish, isn't it?
Sounds like he could be Mexican.
Aye, let's give him.
Brazilian, I think.
He is Brazilian.
Aye, he's Brazilian. Aye.
Just I'm no shitting on it because I do want to see them do a US version of it. Stack the card in the sphere.
Oh, you mean a different optic?
Like a American independence.
Oh, but that's beating us.
I kind of thought Dana played it down a wee bit. Obviously, he was getting asked about it straight after the event. He was like, "Are you going to do something else?" And he's like, "I'm not even done kind of thinking about this one yet."
There was a lot of people shitting on him for it. Like a lot of people are like, you can't do it. You can't do it. So
what do you mean? Like shitting on him for doing Mexico?
No, shitting on him for, like, so it was like, people were saying that it's impossible to do in the time frame that he had actually set out. I think it was something like 6 months.
Oh, right.
He had said like, and there was a lot of people were coming out and saying, it's not going to, this isn't going to work the way you want it. This is like, when you think about like the open ceremony of the Olympics, that's like an unlimited budget, and it runs for like people are planning this years in advance. He had like 6 months to plan this, and he pulled it out of the bag.
I thought it looked great.
Right.
I thought it looked great.
And as a visual effect, yep, everything was perfect, right? Just
didn't have the fights to match, which is sad, because there was definitely the fighters involved. Like, I feel like like Sean O'Malley's the right guy, and I just think
should have gave him a job or somebody. Should have gave
for some reason it just didn't happen.
Can you go up and have a look at that division again and just see who we could up again? Like, who could you give him in that division who you could just pick apart?
Corey Sandhagen would have fought him, like.
I seen Corey Sandhagen calling him out straight after it.
Really?
Aye. He's like, I'll take some of that. But there's nobody in there who you can be like, right, we're going to give Sean O'Malley a quick six, like like give him the rub, because it's a horrible division. It's one of the best divisions there.
Aye,
maybe Jose Aldo.
He seems to be getting a bit of friction going with Henry Cejudo, though. After what he did on his podcast, did they like phone and
drop it?
Aye, so maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's that down the line, but well, we saw what Merab done to fucking Henry. Threw him about like a wee laddie. Couple of P6s fighting away there.
What about that fight there?
I didn't see this because I was driving home.
It was unbelievable.
Aye.
I definitely.
How unbelievable.
Mate, they were just battering.
Oh, it's a split as well.
Oh, I did see that. I did. I watched the
first. Is Zelliber, is that how you say it?
The first two fights were pretty good, by the way. Like, when I was saying, oh, this is an Apex card, your man Ronaldo Rodriguez,
I saw that fight as well.
I think he was he in a triangle like right off the bat, managed to survive it. The two of them just went on, just lump each other.
Like effectively got knocked out.
Aye. Took the back body triangle. There was the scram. Were you messaging me actually?
Aye, because he takes a shot and it looks as if he's kind of out when he's done, and he somehow manages to recover.
Aye. That's that Mexican power.
It's a shame because obviously there's been some very good fights on the card, and then they get overshadowed by the co-main and the main. And I'm not saying fighters should go out there and just slug it out to the fucking death. That's silly. But this was kind of what we all thought might happen. It's a shame that what we thought, we were worried about would happen, did happen.
We were wanting the fairy tale. We were a fairy tale, weren't we?
We were wanting that. What do you think about Sean O'Malley's coach over coaching, we're calling it, eh?
Yes, I seen this where he was trying to get Merab to rush in, and Merab was then giving him shit, and there's this, because he'd done it to Aljamain, didn't he? Like,
you've got to go, Aljo. You've got to go.
And he
shot in and got fucking cracked.
Right.
Mate, man, I like it.
You like it?
I think it's just,
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
It's part of the game, eh?
Aye.
It's a shitty tactic. It's a bit unscrupulous, but like, the fucking game is the game, eh? Like, I don't know. I don't have a problem with him doing it. I think there's a problem if you can't tell the difference between your coach's voice and someone else's voice. Like, if you're shouting to me, I know it's you. If James Dillon's shouting to me, I know it's James. And if Dylan Took is fucking shouting to me, I'm certain it's Dylan Took. So
I guess when you're in a place like America and everybody's got an American accent, it's a wee bit harder than hearing a Scottish guy in America.
How loud is it for you?
But you've got to remember, a Scottish voice, like, see if we're on holiday, you can hear you can hear a Scottish voice feel like, well, that guy's Scottish. Where are you from, mate? And he's like, oh, I'm from Fife. I'm like, I fucking know you're not from fucking Spain anyway. I think that's why it's much easier for us.
So does it cut through quite easy for you?
For me, yes, I can hear the Scottish, and I can hear his coach. I can hear their coach. But I'm not using it as like a, right, I wouldn't get that confused with their coaching me. But I like it. I think it's quite fun. Guys, you know what time it is. If you have been involved in an accident, and you are looking for some support, then G4's got your back. And a lot of people aren't aware, but if you've been involved in an accident in a taxi or in a bus, G4 can also help you out there as well. As I said, like, they've got your back, and they will make sure they look after you, whether it be in a car accident yourself, bus, taxi. Hit up G4 Claim. Ross, where can we get in contact with them?
You can get them at 01698 767 172, or you can get them at notatfaultclaim.com. You can also hit them on WhatsApp if you'd prefer to speak to the girls in the office there, and all the links are beneath in our bio.
So it makes sense if you have been involved in a non-fault accident, you're looking to get a courtesy car, you're looking to take the stress away for you, then G4's got your back. And as I said, remember, that also is involved if you are involved in an accident that you're not driving and you're in the taxi, or you've been in a bus. Hit up G4 Claims. So what's our thoughts on the actual card?
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down?
Thumbs down.
Like the whole thing? Like the whole, you got to take it
I
as a
like
whole.
Lopez. As a whole, it's hard because your sort of fucking icing on the cake has got to be your co-main and your main, and they didn't.
What about, so looking forward or looking at this like maybe 6 months ago, and you've got this Mexican card, Mexican Independence Day, you're at the Sphere. How do you make it, what fight do you put on there? Because I know who I'd put on there. On the main event to make this fucking...
Pereira, Tom Aspinall.
I was thinking Pereira, Tom Aspinall. I was thinking Tom Aspinall.
In general, Tom Aspinall versus anyone.
Tom Aspinall versus anyone.
Aye.
Because what you're getting is you're definitely going to get a quick fight. Yep. You're definitely going to get a highlight reel. So why would you not have someone like him, or even Pereira? Having Pereira, this year I've got with Pereira versus Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall wraps him up like a pretzel and it's game over. And then that's you lost another
star.
Man. Aye, so you've already lost Sean O'Malley.
Aye.
Does he come back the same guy that we seen like last year? No, I don't think so, because they're going to give him a Corey Sandhagen. They're potentially going to give him all these grapplers, and they're just going to wrap him up. So you've lost him. The only other one they've got is Pereira and Tom Aspinall as a star. People who you're excited to watch.
Never
it's not going the distance. It's you're getting
one
flashy knockouts. Aye.
Do you think Pereira's a bigger star now than Sean O'Malley? Do you think Pereira's number one?
I do. I think for the whole thing that goes a long way, the social media and all that kind of stuff, Sean O'Malley's still your guy. But I think as a fighter on the night, Pereira's your guy.
Aye.
So who would you have picked for you're 6 months ago, a year ago, you're setting up this Noche card and you're like, right, who are you picking as your co-main, your main? Remember, I want to shite. If I'm farting, I'm shiting. It's all farting. No shite, come on. Or all pump, no squirt. Whatever you're wanting here.
I think it's hard to say, because I think when you were building this card, you would assume that Sean O'Malley would have been a safe bet.
Against
maybe not
Marab.
Put him against Marab, maybe put him against like Figueiredo or something like that. Whereas maybe he'll mix it up a bit more, no just straight grapple.
But that's the thing why we enjoy the UFC, because the best fight the best.
Well, my point in that is it's like, it's not Marab's fault. That's what he's good at. So I do get that the fans are obviously pissed off, but the guy goes and does what he needs to do to win.
Done his job, and now he's the champ, and now he's making money. Eh? Like, I can't hate him for it.
You can't.
So the UFC kind of pick their cards around about, oh, right, well, the fans might not like this. They need to do the best against the best, like you just said. So.
Well, they do that, though.
And I know they do kind of do that.
Let's not pretend that that's not what they do.
I know. So
but there's times where they just can't do that, and it needs to be, this is the guy who fights this guy.
Aye. We need the parody as well, eh? We need the conflict. We can't. That's why guys like Jan Blachowicz and fucking Ankalaev just shelf they cunts.
So looking at because that night we also had the boxing.
Canelo, aye.
And if you're exactly, because I'm no shitting on Canelo.
Just wins every time, eh?
But who's he fighting? Is he fighting the best guys?
Don't know.
He's no, because he doesn't have to. He's fighting the guys who he can have a run out. He can make a bit of money, have his fight, get his purse, walk away, and look like a champ.
Well, it's like we spoke about last week. Mexicans, they love boxing that much. Just doesn't matter. Who cares? Cinco de Mayo, cool. Get the Canelo fight on. They didn't care who he's fighting. They didn't care. Like,
they just want to see him put the beating on.
They just want to see Canelo come out there, be Mexican.
So that's why his boxing's killing itself, because of this kind of stuff. Whereas you've got the UFC and they're putting on the best versus the best, and right, we don't always get the outcome we want. Like when you think about Merab getting the victory, we don't get what we want, but that's what this sport is. Sometimes, like when Anthony Joshua fought on, is it Ruiz, the big fat Mexican boy?
Oh, Andy Ruiz.
And he fucking bumped. He done him. That's combat sports sometimes. Sometimes the guy who's there to take a second prize wins.
Aye, that's true. He fights this weekend, actually, against Daniel Dubois. I'm trying to get more into boxing.
It's hard.
It's fucking hard. A fight's too long. 12 rounds is too many. Cut it to 6.
And then they throw in a wee band to get you excited. Oh, there's a fucking...
Oh, this was a fucking cut and a half, by the way.
Was this on the This was on the prelims. I didn't see any of the prelims. That is a doozy of a cut.
Worst cut ever. I feel was a bit strong, but it was bad.
What was that, an elbow?
I'm not sure what it was. Mental bruising as well. Look at the bruising to the bottom of the eyelid.
That shit's nasty. Oh, that's a fucking cut and a half, man.
Definite fight stopper, eh?
I put my dick in worse, by the way.
Why would I think that too?
A couple of fucking dysfunctional pieces of shit.
It's funny how like the black eye at the bottom's like an arsehole.
the dirty eye. Did Denny's watch your young man, fucking Junior Ruiz, whatever his name is?
Rosas Junior. I was at work, but he immediately fucking demolished my coupon because I had him to win by submission. And he took it at distance.
I went to put it on and watch it, and that was the only fight that it was the third round that starts on BT Sports. Because
there was only one early prelim. Is that right? So we got one early prelim, went to the prelims. I don't know. Poor wee Rosas can't even go and sit in the stand and have a fucking beer, eh? He's too young. He's only 19 or something.
And all fairness to you, want to have sitting next to you with that fucking shovel face. What is it you call him?
Wee pan face.
Wee pan face.
Happy a pan.
Looks like the Tasmanian devil, eh? I feel bad.
Go and do his wee noise.
What? The chiwiwi? What is this about, though?
He said it doesn't actually mean anything. It was just him and his mate came up with like, let's just do something funny, and just came up with that noise. So it doesn't mean nothing.
He looks
like Paul.
Cha wee wee.
He looks like the type who would just sit there and make noises and park wherever he wants. Do you know what I mean? WL's, it's cool, bro. I've got the blue badge. Just take that in there. Says he wants to be done with fighting by the time he's 25, though.
Does he?
Done and dusted. Money made. Chill out. Cool story, bro.
Aye, that's not how this game works. This game will chew you up, spit you out, and then bring you back again.
On the subject of that.
Hey.
What a segue.
Aye, it was.
As if we've done this before.
I know. So
had you got a fight, mate?
I have. I've got a fight against a young up and comer called I think his name's Bo Nickal. Is that his name?
Young Ginge.
Aye, so Bo Nickal, we still hadn't had the confirmation of the fight. So I had agreed to the fight.
Quite a while ago, eh?
Aye, and they were still dragging their feet. But that's it, it's official. We are going to the MSG card and we are there to upset. We're there to do the upset as we always do. We've got an unbeaten fighter who, in my opinion, hasn't fought the same caliber as fighter as I have. I've fought some of the best in both divisions, and I know what losing feels like, and I don't want to lose again. This is it.
I feel like that one goes without saying. This is a very big jump for him. Like there's a lot. Like obviously, there's people going to be heaping pressure on you, going, "That's Bo Nickal. He's this undefeated American wrestler. He's X, Y, Z. He's this future ahead of him. We've seen him do this, and such a person is tipping him to do that. I know Chael Sonnen's pretty hot on him, but like you say,
he's a human.
He's not fought the like the pressure is on him, not on you. No. It's huge amounts of pressure on him because it's like, well, he goes in there, tries to shoot, takes you in, and he gets triangled, and everybody goes, the
derailer, that's what they call me. I've done it a few times and I can do it again.
Aye. So I think for him, fair play to him. Like, he deserves a handshake for taking the fight because it's a big jump. When you look at the last two guys he fought, you couldn't even put a fucking bet on him. That's how bad it was. So it's a huge step up in competition. Not to fucking suck you off too much here, but it's a very big step up in competition.
Yes, it is indeed.
So,
and we've got a few bits and bobs coming out with the podcast, haven't we?
Third one, you're not going to mention your placement on the card, and
so I'm underneath the co-main.
Is that the final placement?
Yep. So they're obviously giving him a push. I'm not saying I'm a big name in the world of MMA, but I've had a couple of fucking scraps. Eh?
If it had been a different night, you'd have been the light heavyweight champion. Eh?
I know.
Twice.
See when I was in Brazil, if it had all went the way it was meant to go, if I was meant to beat Johnny Walker. Jamal Hill won.
He wanted a dream match, eh?
Aye, we could have fucking won that back. I could have been sitting here with a belt.
You and Jamal?
Aye.
Do you think he'll go again?
I don't think so.
I don't even want to look past Bo Nickal here.
No,
I feel like we're racing ahead of ourselves here.
We'll deal with Bo Nickal. We'll string that ball when we come here.
Hey, Jamal can sit there and just fucking torture himself.
You've kind of had this fight in the back of your mind for a while, because I remember you talking about it after
UFC
your
London.
middleweight debut.
UFC London.
Yep.
I mean, burst out laughing. I was like, I don't know if Paul knows who Bo Nickal is.
Somebody had mentioned his name when we were like talking, and they were like pushing this kid as the next thing.
KB Heat.
Aye, he was. And he's obviously got a bit of love from being American, being this all-star American wrestler guy. And I'm like, this could be a good fight for us. Like a very good fight for us. Stylistically match up. The guy tries to take me down. Because you're always thinking about, like, obviously you want to get closer to the title. At that point I did. But sometimes you just want like an easier fight or a more favourable fight. And if you look at the fights I've had, like the last 5 of my fights have not been easy fights. When you think, in fact, none of my fights have been easy. When you think about, there's not a fight I've went in and I'm the outstanding dog. What would you call that? Like
favourite.
The
You've never been the favourite.
I can think I was the outstanding dog in the fight who would win. But I've never ever been that guy. I'm always like it's the wee train that can do. What is it? The
little engine that could.
The little engine that could. Fucking my analogies are terrible, man.
No more sparring for you.
No more sparring. you have a wee eye to it. But yep, it's a favourable card. It's obviously got John Jones on it. We've obviously got Chandler on it. So this is going to be a fucking doozy card.
You looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to it. I love training. I train every day, twice a day, regardless of what day it is. But when you've got a fight coming up, it gives you a little bit of spark, a little bit.
I feel like you needed this, eh?
I do.
You needed
I literally had like a few months off there, and I got to a point where I was just fucking. I was.
Things were getting out of hand.
Aye, things were getting out of hand, man. The madness was reeking at me, man.
I don't think I'd have seen you. I've seen you get into as much chaos as that. Like, no, so
the chaos is like I control that shit. The gym keeps the chaos at bay.
Aye.
And if I don't have the gym, then the chaos just kind of fucking comes up like vomit.
Like venom.
Chaos.
But no, it's good. So what are we, 10 weeks away from that?
I think it's probably closer to 8. 8 on Saturday, I'm sure.
Is it? Fucking hell. Where's my life gone, man? I'm just wasting it lying in my bed.
And then straight after that, we'll be getting ready for El Crimble and potentially doing our 100th episode.
Oh, aye. What's the plan for that? Can we speak openly about that? Are we still going with...
We were thinking about a live show, weren't we? So
are we still going with Plan A?
I don't see why not.
Cool.
I don't see why not.
Aye. That'll be all right.
Let's do it.
Just get blittered in the G4 factory.
Aye.
That would be all right.
Invite the patrons.
I've had worse nights out.
Patrons would love that.
Aye.
Bit of the madness.
There's some great Patreons in there. I dropped into the Discord last night. I do mean to do it more often. I do mean to go in and interact a bit, and I just forget. There's too much social media. I'm trying to stay off. I actually tried to cut it down a wee bit. I've noticed myself getting a wee bit social media pulling me down a wee bit.
On the subject of social media,
go on.
What was the altercation you had with, who was it again? Chandler?
Michael Chandler.
Mate,
I need to know this.
Right, I'll tell you the story. But I'll tell you now, Michael Chandler will come on and say this isn't fucking true. He's done this twice now, and it's 100% true. Scott Malone had posted a video of Eddie Alvarez fighting Michael Chandler on Twitter, and I had put and he tagged them both, and I had commented underneath, I miss Juiced Up Eddie, right? It was when they fought on Bellator. It wasn't a secret, right? Eddie Alvarez put back loads of laughing faces and prove it and like the tongue out emoji. Good reply. Quite cool to get a reply for Eddie Alvarez. Michael Chandler comes on. Fuck you. You know nothing about what we go through. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. And I was like, fucking, who are you talking to, you fucking idiot? I'm like, why are you being a dickhead? I was like, I said I loved the fight. It was a great fight. They were great fights. I've never missed a Michael Chandler fight. I'm a Michael Chandler fan. All his fights are fucking excellent. I couldn't say enough good things about Michael Chandler. And he's probably quite a good guy, adopting kids. I've supported, taken some shit for it. He took untold amounts of shit for the black community about it. And I was like, why the fuck would... Anyway, Bungie had signed for Bellator. And I was like, I'll come to MSG and I'll pretend to take a picture of you and I'll take your head off. That's what I'd say to him in a tweet. And it was a dickhead thing to say. There was loads of back and forth. Loads of fans came on and gave me shit. Anyway, it fizzled out. I told the story on another podcast and he tweeted on that saying, fucking, nobody ever talks so much shit into a microphone. Like, it's the exact same. It's true. You came on and you gave me shit about saying you were juiced up. Mate, it was Bellator. There was no testing. Nobody cared. I enjoyed the fights. What's the problem? So I get it. Probably a highly strung guy. Shouldn't have said I was going to take a picture. But mate, I'd take a picture with Michael Chandler. I did take a picture with anyone.
We'll tag him in.
No, didn't he? Because I didn't want to hassle when I'm at MSG. I didn't want fucking set about by Michael Chandler.
Don't want this smoke.
I didn't want that smoke. Fuck that. You seen the guy? I've got zero cardio. This guy's fucking... like I say, I've never missed a Michael Chandler fight. He's probably one of the only guys I've sat and watched every one of their fights. It's Bellator fights, everything. But he's just an angry guy. Like, he's fucking just angry with life. Like, what did I do?
Should he be angry with McGregor? Who's basically led that poor man astray. Again. I'm gonna fight you.
I know.
And he's like, hee.
Mate, it is a shite one as well. Even there, right? So here I'm going to support Michael Chandler in this again. Guy thought he was going to get paid, right? In a fight that he probably believes he could win, definitely could win, and he's not getting.
I know. I know he's up against Oliveira, which is quite
a fucking tough fight, mate. Lost him already. Tough fucking fight, and not going to get anywhere near the money. Sat out for 2 years, and I think Michael Chandler's maybe 37. I want to say. So
I think it's something like that.
Mate, 2 years at that age is fucking serious. 2 years he's been waiting on Conor McGregor.
The only positive that comes to that is all the extra media that he got. And right, he's probably not fought, but there would be a lot of companies who wanted to work with him because he had the links with McGregor, and people absolutely fucking love McGregor does it, and then people lose their
UFC
mind.
would have weighed him in, like...
I hope so, mate.
I don't think so.
But
it's not in their style.
But the thing is... The thing is, he did his bit with Tough, so he done it. He done the Ultimate Fighter. He would have weighed in for that kind of stuff. He done all the media he's been asked to do. He does the.
We all want that red panty.
Aye, the part he plays like that, similar to like Bo Nickal, that wholesome All American, WWE-esque style that Americans love. It's not as popular in Europe, but it's obviously big over there, mate. He's very popular in America. He's very popular everywhere. But in America, he's like their guy, eh? He's your fucking apple pie American guy, isn't he?
Quarterback, you know.
Aye,
guy in high school.
Captain of the football team. He's
throwing spirals.
He's the guy. And I do feel bad for him. Because you think now in 2 years, like, so say he fought Oliveira fucking, I don't know, 18 months ago, beat him, then got to fight Islam for the title. Could he be the champion by now in 2 years? Could be.
Potentially.
See,
we're thinking about champions. Go and fire the champions up again for me. Is the champions just kind of all wrestling?
Yes.
All wrestling, like...
Other than light, heavyweight and heavyweight, yes.
Are they all... Right, so... Georgian, aye, they're all for that part of Neck of the Woods, aren't they? Oh,
Drickus, Drickus mixes it. Drickus some mixed martial arts.
Surely there's a Muslim guy just working his way up the rankings in that division, is there?
Where? Which one?
In the middleweight division. Aye, there is. It's fucking 𝗟𝗘𝗔𝗧𝗛𝗏𝗧. He's just creeping up there just to get that title. There's always one Muslim guy just in every division just fucking killing it.
Just doing their thing.
Aye.
Just training and speaking to Allah.
Aye.
That's fair enough.
He's a bit Taporia as well.
Is he Muslim, I think?
He could be. He's Spanish. He's a bit of the moor about him.
Definitely pointed at this guy and said, praise Allah at once in his life.
Hey, haven't we all? Got to thank him sometimes.
Is there a Muslim in that division that's coming up to catch him? Evlev. See, there's always one. There's always the fucking
just
boogeyman
creeping about who no cunt wants to fight. Stay away from him.
MMA. It's a tough old sport. It's a tough old racket. Combat sports in general, the knocks, the bumps, the bruises, but you don't have to deal with that yourself. I know a mob. They're called Anaconda, and they've got your back. Whether you're suffering from elbow pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, ankle pain, Anaconda's got your back. Why would they use Anaconda? Well, Anaconda is used by athletes like myself. They're used by ADCC champions, and if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for you. And the reason I use Anaconda is they offer unparalleled support. They also have a lot of cushioning to stop any further damage happening to your knee. So if you are looking for a little bit extra support, Anaconda's got your back. Ross, where can we hit up Anaconda?
You can get them at anacondafightwear.co. You can currently get any 2 braces for $59, and you can combo them. So that can be a knee and a shoulder, an elbow and a wrist, whatever you need. Anacondafightwear.co. Put in leather 10 at the checkout for 10% off, and you can also get them at the links in our bio.
Pain in the sport of MMA is a thing of the past. Check out Anaconda. There was something else I was going to change about, but say like, oh, what about us? Oh, that's right. It was the people at the. Did you see all the media companies at the Sphere?
Doing what?
So there's obviously talk about the UFC coming at the end of their time with ESPN.
Oh, so they're all trying to grab it up.
Yes, and there's obviously the TKO mob.
Mm-hmm.
Who are UFC and WWE, and they've been trying to. Am I right in saying WWE is going to Netflix? There was like a head of Netflix was at the show, and so was big Jeff Bezos. Bezos. He was there also, head of Prime Movies and all that kind of stuff. So we are in this sort of moment where it's no longer going to be available on certain streaming sites for the UFC. And the way the WWE are doing it is that they do like so many, like your Raw and SmackDown on Netflix, and then you're going to have your main event that you pay for pay-per-view. And I think it's going to go that way with the UFC.
So like a subscription service up to a point.
Yep. So you will have your, like, let's say it's your unnumbered cards are all free on Netflix, so you can go on and watch them. So you watch your Apex cards, your fight nights. But then I think what they're potentially going to do is, no matter where you're in the world, you're going to pay that $90. I think it was like $80 or some shit like that.
It's fucking no cheap though, eh?
But then we still get it all for free. And that's like, people in the UK get all their fights for nothing.
Why? Because they stream illegally?
No. You pay your monthly,
oh, your BP,
your
BT
or whatever. I think it's Discovery now,
Aye.
or TNT Sports. You pay that and you catch all the fights, and maybe there's 1 or 2 that are actual pay-per-view. But in America, it's week in, week out. They have to pay for a numbered event, which is like
it's 80, a lot of money, eh?
$80, $95.
I think we also need to pay for an ESPN Plus subscription on top of that. So they need to pay for the subscription and the pay-per-views as well.
Whereas we just pay that. I think it's £25 or maybe £30 for the TNT pass, and you get it all. Whereas if we then move on to Netflix, there's going to be more paywalls added.
Aye, that is a fucker. I don't know.
Is it a good thing for the sport, but to be more like,
it feels more accessible.
It'll be more accessible if it's on Netflix, or if it's on Prime, or if it's on one of these other social media, one of these other streaming sites.
Get younger guys into it as well.
Yeah. Netflix and chill's got a different. Why watch you fighting then?
Look, I'll show you the real naked joke.
The Bear Jew's doing a bit of that triangle madness. You
bitch.
What were you going to say, gentlemen?
I was saying Dana White was quoted saying that they're currently in talks with a new project in Vegas that's not been spoke about publicly yet. So it maybe links in with that. I don't know.
Give me some kind of hint, Greg.
No, I don't know. He's not actually mentioned it, but here's like the tweet.
Oh, an arena project.
I think he's took the humph with T-Mobile. Is that run by MSG? No MSG.
MGM.
MGM.
Yes.
And I think he's took the hump with them but he's still under contract with them. So he's Dana White.
He was pissed off because he didn't get consulted about them taking this date for 306, which is why he went to the Sphere. So that's what he was annoyed about.
I get it. Like if you're there all the time, Vegas, and that's your place, and you're putting on a card, I get it.
What was said about that date though? Something was mentioned, like that's always been like Canelo's date, eh?
Aye.
So
He
I
always
don't.
fights there. But the UFC
Have I missed that?
But then
Maybe.
they'll maybe have like we've got the rights to this first, and they've maybe just went, nah, we're going to get to Canelo. I don't know. Don't know what you think, Craig.
Well, this is what I said to Greg there about this new secret venue. My thoughts would be like, what if it's maybe a Netflix building a sort of studio for this, if they're in talks to this and they've got their own purpose-built sort of Apex type thing.
A new arena though in Las Vegas.
It could be. Like there's nothing that stops them from putting an arena where the Apex is. It's big enough.
Aye.
Like it's not as if they're no short of money. They just spent 20 million on the
One
Sphere.
show.
I know. And what did it make? 22 or 26 million? Was it 22 million?
Wow, that's wild.
I know.
So they probably lost, but they have lost money.
But
By the
if
time they pay
you're
everything.
in this world of I want to invest in this,
Was that not the gates 22 million? So think about all the other,
Oh right.
so
right,
all the
right,
other
okay.
revenue that comes in with the pay-per-view and everything else that comes with it. So I wouldn't say they would. I don't think they'd lost money.
nah, they would definitely didn't
No.
lose money. Like even if you're making £2 million
But
only
fucking-
on the gate,
he loses that on Baccarat on a Saturday night, mate. He doesn't give a fuck, eh? I don't know. It's cool though. The sport is
it's definitely evolving,
Aye.
and it's just going to go mainstream. And I love how Dana White's making it more of a going for being once a month, maybe once every 2 months event to now being
it's weekly,
it's a weekly event. So
fights every week.
aye, and we've got to take for all the good fights we get. You've got to take the shit ones as well. You've got to take like the shitty Apex card that you don't really want to watch, but then you end up watching it and you end up finding a new fighter and being like, this guy's a superstar. So it's all part of the game in it. And boxing does it week in, week out. They put out these shitty cards and people tune in to watch it.
It's one main card fight with an undercard who just absolute fucking
Pish.
might as well fight somebody who's in a vegetative state. He's not going to fight you back, eh?
Do you not think boxing? I'm sure Grant's actually mentioned this before, where obviously all the money goes into their main event. If they actually spent money on the rest of the card, then boxing would be so much better.
Going out of business, Sally. That's what they always call it.
But if you're the guy at the top and you've worked your ass off to get to the top, then you want all the pie.
But old Turkey Al-Sheikh, he's doing his thing now, eh? He's changing it. So you're seeing much more even fights with him, aren't you? Because he's getting these fights over to Riyadh and saying, no, we're going to do it like that. Because he's obviously got a fucking bottomless pit of money. He's paying legends of the sport just to come over and take photos with him. So it's maybe, I think your established productions are going to have to do something very, very soon, or risk just being run out of town by this cunt, eh? Because otherwise Riyadh's just going to become the fight capital of the world. For boxing, I don't think, well, it's obviously going to be working with the UFC, aren't they? But I also saw Conor McGregor reaching out to him at the BKFC press conference. Have you seen that?
So he's wanting to get him involved to make BKFC
No.
No?
He said, get me out of this. Get me out of the UFC. I don't know if you've seen it or no.
No, I've not.
He gave a press conference and he seemed quite sincere, I thought, like he was being himself. He said he's got 2 fights left in his UFC contract. He's now getting told he's not going to fight till June at the earliest with the UFC. Doesn't he want to fight in June? Wants to fight ASAP. Saying there was nothing up with him fighting Michael Chandler. He's happy to fight. He's happy to do whatever.
He was the one that pulled out because he had a sore foot and he didn't want to mess up the comeback fight and mess up his legacy. So and we got it. We were all like, yep, I get why he's not wanting to fight.
He wants to be 100%. Yeah.
Fighting a guy like Chandler, you want to be 100%. And now he's seen all these people getting some of that money from
Riyadh.
Riyadh, and they're like, well, take some of that.
And he's sort of, he mentioned a bare knuckle fight with Jeremy Stevens, and then he just was like, I don't know if, basically, when you're talking about getting out of contracts and stuff, the UFC aren't going to phone you. But he's saying nobody's picking up his phone calls. That's what he's saying. Nobody's getting back to him. He's getting fucking patched by the UFC.
That doesn't sound like, it seems like he's full of shit.
I don't know.
What about, so if you're the UFC and you're in these talks with all these different streaming services, why would you let Conor McGregor leave?
No, you're never going to let him leave.
Nah, you've gone for 2 fights, so why would you?
But this is what he's saying. He's like, June is too far away. I want to fight now. I want to be fighting ASAP. And he's like, no, they're no offering me it. So, and that's what he's saying. He's like, he wants to do something else. He wants to have a bare knuckle boxing, or maybe it's a gloved boxing. I don't know, but it was just weird, but I felt like watching it, I believed him. I felt like he was being sincere and honest. He did seem quite, there wasn't his usual flashy Conor McGregor bravado. He just seemed like, look, fucking, I'm needing some help here. Is anybody listening? It was, I don't know, I'll send you it later on. It just was very unusual for him. Normally, you know the type of guy he is.
I find it hard to just take in that guy says.
He's a brash guy,
I got tested today by the drug-free sport agency. I'm the most tested athlete on the roster by more than twice the amount. I believe I'm tested maybe 13 times. The amount of seconds it took me to finish Jose Aldo, 13 times. And, you know, actually, funny enough, Jose Aldo was number 2 in the testing. I think he's been tested 6 times. So I've been tested more than twice all these other athletes, yet I struggle to get a date. So, you know, I've talked to 𝗟𝗘𝗥𝗖𝗓 and said, 𝗟𝗘𝗥𝗖𝗓, can you assist me here? You know, as far as Chandler rematching Oliveira, I'm happy with the date. It's November. Maybe we can still do it after, if they're not going to line me out till maybe December, January, February, or one of these dates. You know, maybe we can still do it. I'm just a bit, you know, out of the loop with it, you know. So all I can do is carry on doing what I'm doing. You know, I test under the testing administration. I train daily, and you know, that's it. Let's see what happens. Hopefully, it all comes to fruition. I
find it hard to feel bad for him. The guy has held the sport at gunpoint for the last fight.
He definitely has.
For his last fight, and he's going to just keep doing it. And I get why the UFC want him, and I get why the UFC don't want to let him go. Because you let him go, and he goes to somewhere like Riyadh, and then he'll make even more money.
Just sets up his own company.
It's good to keep him. It's good for the sport if he's with the UFC and the UFC control him. Right, I get it that there's so many negatives to having somebody like that bound by contracts and all this shit. But we're not going to. What's going to happen is he's going to fight and he's going to destroy his legacy. He's going to destroy who he is. Just fucking stay where you are. You don't need the money. You don't need to be fighting. We don't like.
A big thing he said as well was they were trying to get him to fight in California, and he said, no, it's too hard for people to get from Ireland to California. Las Vegas is easier. It's easier for the fans coming out. And I thought, well, maybe. I don't know. I thought that was, if that's how he feels, I thought that was quite a nice touch, but there's not much difference between Las Vegas and California.
No, it's what, like 30 minutes difference.
So I don't know. I found that one tough to believe.
What's your thoughts, fans? You're obviously the guys on the ground.
Aye. Are you done with McGregor or no?
Is
he done with him? Is he done with the sport? I think so.
I don't know. I don't know what you do with the guy. I don't know. You game Chandler because he's the easier option of that division. I don't know what you do with him.
Being rich is not enough though, for some people.
But May wants more money because that's the only reason he's going to Riyadh, because they're all getting big bags. Or maybe he wants the biggest bag.
Maybe he thinks they can buy him out his contract or something. I don't know.
Dana White isn't going to give a fuck about how much money this guy's going to throw at him. He's going to be like, no, I'm going to keep him.
Aye, like
I'm
going
to keep him for his 2 fights.
He can go and lose that amount of money on a game of baccarat the night. He's not caring. He's not bothered about money.
He threw 20 grand at a show. He's not worried about losing money. Nah. So he's going to keep McGregor. But yes, guys, we're going to go over to the Patreon. And then we'll get some more of our stories about what we've been up to this week.
Patreon therapy sesh.
Last week's was deep.
I know.
Last week's was really deep. But guys, as always, keep it high.
We'll see you in a minute on Patreon.